Welcome to the EthanLive podcast. Today is Thursday, uh,
Already.
November 20th. Things are
Right.
rolling by quickly.
Yeah.
Today is Future Teachers of America Day.
Okay.
Great,
FTA.
Great American Smokeout.
Hmm.
I guess that's maybe to stop smoking. Yeah.
Smoking.
Uh, National Pay Back Your Parents Day.
Oh, yeah. Hmm.
What else we got? Anything interesting? International Hug a Runner Day. Name your PC date. Um,
Oh, they sound like they're running out of things before the end of the year.
I wonder, World Philosophy Day. I wonder how all these things even get started, right?
I don't either. It's always like one of those jobs that I always thought would be fun, like naming nail polishes.
All right,
Somebody gets paid.
we got, that would be interesting. We've got a lot of stuff to get to. We may even have another
Yeah.
special guest on. But first, we need to know uh, movie review time. You
Oh,
saw Wicked 2 last night. Is that what they're calling it?
I
Wicked 2?
did.
And, all right, what did you
Wicked for
think?
the good. It was wonderful. It was really good. It was so good that I came back home and watched the first Wicked again. So
I
very
was
good.
going to watch that first one last night and it just.
Slipped your mind. I know. And I even gave you a reminder.
You did.
I did. The theater was packed. I did the 3D experience. So the screen, I mean, the flying monkeys were very scary when they're coming at you from 3D.
You
But
did the 3D. Okay.
I did. Oh, I went all out. But no, I highly recommend it. It's very, very good. So, and it brings it to a conclusion, but it also wraps up and you understand the Dorothy and the wizard and the original Wizard of Oz. But it's such a good story about friendship and loyalty and accepting people for the way they are. So there are some really good messages in there. So it was very good. I will see it again.
Wicked 2. And I was asking you this the other day. So does this Wicked 2 pick up? It's like the Wicked Witch of the West story while the Wizard of Oz is going on, like when Dorothy's doing all
Yes.
the thing.
Yes. Well, this one starts with Glinda and Elzeba going to Oz, and then they meet the wizard, and then there are problems, and the Wicked Witch figures out that the wizard is a fake. So we
Oh,
start there. We start with, and then you see why Dorothy is coming that way. You see what happens, who becomes the scarecrow, who becomes the lion. Um, and so you understand why the Wicked Witch becomes wicked, but that's in quotations because there's a whole story to why she is wicked. So,
I mean, spoiler alert! You're telling me that the wizard's not the real, a real
oh
wizard?
my, oh sorry, oh sorry, no. I think everybody knows the wizard's a fake from the original. I don't
Yeah,
think I
yeah.
don't think I gave away anything. So,
No.
but there are a lot of twists that were very surprising. So, very good, very good, worth the money.
Let me. Just heard from our guest that was going to join that she might not have gotten the link. I'm going to try this.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Yeah, sometimes that doesn't go through. See if she can get it the next.
I'll try one more time.
Okay.
Uh, Send. Oh, also for anyone that's watching, if you have a question, post it in the comments. If you'd like to
Yeah.
join the show, I posted the link. Um, it's in the first comment here. If you want to come on the show and talk about it, we're going to try to get into. We're going to get into some Hardin County stuff. We'll probably end up having multiple episodes. We're just going to kind of lay the groundwork and talk about in general some things that happened. Um, as we do that, though, I do want to make sure that we say, as we're getting started, anytime we're talking about Hardin County stuff, the views and opinions shared by individuals on this podcast, myself, Debbie, anyone else who joined, are entirely our own and don't reflect anyone else's perspective.
Yeah.
Anything that we share is stuff that we have experienced personally, or we heard at the courthouse, or through people that are involved in the case. And so any opinions that we share are also our own opinions, not anyone that
Mm-hmm.
shared that information. So I want to put that out there. If we say something that you believe, if you're watching or you hear about it, and we say something that you believe is not true, you are welcome to come on here. You're welcome to get in touch with me
Yeah.
and straighten it out. We'd be happy to have you on. We want to talk to as many folks about this as we possibly can.
Yeah. This was a long involved case. So yeah.
Yeah. So,
Mhm.
where do we
Yeah.
start?
Where do you start? I
So
know
the
exactly.
the initially, the defendant in this case,
Well, she's been found guilty, so we don't even have to say she's alleged anymore.
yeah, the guilty person in this
Okay.
case, um, her name popped up about I don't know, a year and a half ago, I guess, because someone from Maryland reached out to me, a lady named Marianne Carter, who owned a dog named Cyrus, who sent Cyrus to this convicted person. They weren't convicted at the time, to train their
Right.
dog. And I believe, you may know this better than me, to train the dog to be in dog shows. I
Mm-hmm.
believe,
Mm-hmm.
not
Right.
like not obedience
To
training.
show.
She doesn't do
Right.
obedience
To
training.
show. Yeah.
She
Right. To
does
show.
show. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so when Ethan's law passed and went into effect, she'd been watching from a distance, and she reached out and said, "I wish Ethan's law would have been in effect when this happened to my dog Cyrus, um, because this is what happened to him. I sent him there, and this person killed him." And so that was sort of the first
That you heard of her.
first I've heard of this particular case. So,
Right.
or her, the guilty person.
Right.
Um, so then last week, Toshi, a friend of mine from down in the Radcliffe area, um, uh, um, reached out.
Reached out.
We had done several things with Toshi before. Done some pet festivals, animal festivals. Toshi is an animal advocate in that area.
Right.
I think that would
Right.
be out of line to say. And if
No.
reach
She
out, Toshi.
described herself that way yesterday. So yes, she's an animal advocate. Yes. So
She said, "Hey," and it was just, "Hey, did you know this was going on? Really? Here's a
yeah.
couple articles about this case, and it's wrapped up."
Right.
And so I read the articles, and immediately the name rang a bell of this was the person that had this dog Cyrus.
Mm-hmm.
And as we do when we're going to go around the state to different cases, I'll reach out to whoever it looks like is handling the case, county attorney, Commonwealth attorney, to lend some support, ask if there's anything we can do, sort of if there's anything related with that case that seems like we've seen around the state, offer some advice or what we have seen. Same thing in this case. I said, "Wow, I
Exactly.
would have loved to know this beforehand, and maybe
Uh-huh.
talk to some folks before the case even got to trial," but that didn't happen. So she was able to put me in touch with Detective Mattingly and the Assistant Commonwealth Attorney Eric Carr.
Eric
I spoke
Carr.
to them,
Mhm.
and uh, so the trial was over as a Friday. They
Yes.
were going to do closing arguments on Monday
Monday.
and try to get a verdict on Monday. So,
Correct.
you and I talked, and we thought this is a great case to go to.
Mm-hmm.
So we drive to Hardin County. They have a really nice judicial center, just half a block off of
Dixie,
off
main,
of
yeah.
the little town square there,
Yeah. 31W.
31W. So, and it's a really big courthouse.
Very large,
We
airport like.
we go in, And the sheriff's deputy at the security says, "You're here for the trial. You can go upstairs. It's on the second floor, courtroom 2." We go up to the second floor, and I was a little surprised there were so many people there. I
There
mean,
were
150, 200
definitely.
people there. and,
Right.
and
And
not
like,
not for this trial. They're just
no, no,
meandering
but
around.
yeah, but like I said, it's very like an airport in there. It's a very large open area. The seating didn't even look like an airport we talked about with
Mm-hmm.
little groupings of seats, lots of windows, so very expansive area. But yeah, very a
A
lot
lot
of
of
people there.
lot
Yeah,
of people.
right.
People are waiting for family court. People are waiting outside of court 1, court 2, but you can't tell the difference between those people
No,
because the rooms are sort of right there close together. The seating is all around. There's just people
yes,
milling all around. So
yes.
Ethan is with me. Probably before we went from security to upstairs, probably got stopped 4 or 5
Yeah,
times. People saying something
definitely.
about Ethan. Stop, talk to
Uh-huh.
them. We go upstairs, take the elevator. We go upstairs, and immediately some people start talking to us, asking me about Ethan. And, what kind of dog is he? Why is he here? What are you doing? And the same conversation I have with people all the time, right? I
Exactly.
see a couple people. There's a small little group of folks that are sort of in an area. A couple of them have some juror badges on. A
Mm-hmm.
couple of them don't have juror badges on. I,
Right.
I see that, and my mind goes to every courthouse we've been through around Kentucky. When we see people that have a juror badge on, there are people that have been subpoenaed
Mhm.
for jury duty, but haven't been assigned a case
Yes.
at all.
They're the pool that are
They're the
waiting.
pool. That's what,
Yes,
and as
yes,
a matter of fact, we'll get to it. But the next time we went on Wednesday, there must have been 150 people there for a pool of jurors,
yes,
right?
exactly.
So
Right, in that same area, right.
never would it ever cross my mind that the jury for this trial
Uh-huh.
is sitting right
Sitting,
outside of the courtroom. That doesn't make
exactly.
any sense.
No,
I mean,
no.
so let me. I'm pulling up some sound right here. Doot, doot. Oh, wait a minute. That was wrong. Everyone, give me just one moment.
You're
Uh,
fine.
Dee, are you there?
I'm here.
Yeah.
Hey,
Look who we have. We
hey!
have Dee Robinson joining us. So, Dee, I'm just sort of giving people sort of an overview of the way things happen through this case, and then we can get into a little bit more details. And thank you for joining us. Great to have you on.
Yeah,
We go up there, and no way did I think these people.
we're
Why
being
in the
jurors.
world would people that are as part of a jury sitting outside the courtroom that can interact with anyone at least have
Exactly.
roped off or something? Well, they weren't.
Yeah, no, they
So
weren't.
we go into the courtroom. It's getting ready to start, and there were a few motions by the defense, a few motions by the defense. The prosecution didn't have anything. They
No.
got through those, and then and then the judge says we have 56 pages of jury instruction.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I have to read all 56 pages. Plus, the
Yes.
jurors have to have a copy. And I
Mm-hmm.
haven't made copies yet. So
Right,
I need to
correct.
make a copy for all 12 jurors, the one alternate juror, and then the defense asks if he can make him a copy
Uh-huh.
because he didn't have a copy either. So, and the judge says, I don't have a very good copier. It's going to
Uh-huh.
take me a while. And he leaves.
Mm-hmm.
So I said to you, I'm going to take him back out because this is going to be a while before they start
Yes.
closing arguments. And I go back out,
Right.
and there's the same small little group of people there
Yeah.
who seem to be there for waiting to get assigned to a jury. And they ask me some more questions about Ethan. And then I see one of the defense attorneys walk out and
Yeah.
and sees out of the corner of my eye, I see him come out like he's going to go
Uh-huh.
somewhere, and he stops immediately and immediately
Mm-hmm.
goes back into the courthouse or into the courtroom. And I seen the main defense attorney, Mr. Wimberly, come out and go right
Yeah.
back in. And I thought, "There's what's going on? There's something not right here." And then immediately
Yeah.
the bailiff came over and said, "What are you doing? You can't be talking to these people." And I said, "What do you mean I can't be talking to these people?" And she said, "They're the jurors." And I said, "They're the jurors on this case? Like, why are they sitting here?"
Right.
Anyway, so I moved away, and you were in the courtroom during all that,
Yes.
and apparently he
Yes.
went on and on about a mistrial.
Oh, goodness. Yes. Yes. It was immediately from Mr. Wimberly, who shouted very adamantly that and demanded a mistrial because the jurors were all interacting with the man with the dog.
Man with the dog. So it turned
Yes.
into, after much deliberation in the courtroom, they were going to interview each juror individually.
Yes. Each one.
That took
Yes.
time, and then so they interviewed
Uh-huh.
each juror individually. Who, I mean,
Yeah.
what are you asking them for? Like, he was grasping at
Did
straws, right? Let's
yes.
be honest. And then
Yeah, they kept asking if you had talked to them about this case, if you talked to them about this trial. What did you talk to them about? And it became kind of a joke. I said inside the courtroom because everybody was saying he mentioned a movie, so we were like, okay, that's all they were talking about. So yeah,
well, I am never, Debbie, you've been around me. So
yes,
I have never in my life walked up to someone and said, "Hi, my name is Jeff. This is Ethan. Here's what we do." Never.
no,
People
no,
ask me all the time, and it's conversations that I have with people every day, whether I'm at Kroger, Walmart, walking down the street.
right,
So anyway,
exactly,
then we have to go in and
yeah,
go up to the stand. Ethan and I have to go in and get sworn in, and the
uh-huh,
judge asks us questions. The judge asked several questions and asked if the prosecution had any. The prosecution did not.
right.
The defense attorneys had many questions. He
Oh yeah.
seemed very excited to ask me some
To
questions,
cross-examine,
um,
yes. Yeah.
and really was just like searching for something very nefarious that just wasn't there. Like,
Yeah,
what did
yeah,
you say to them? And I told him, "Did you talk to anybody on the prosecution team?" Yes. Talked to the
right.
detective. I talked to Eric Carr. Well, what did you talk about? Well,
Uh,
we talked about mostly that the case was over. Uh,
yeah,
the details I'd gotten from the case were all from the articles that were written in that news enterprise.
yeah,
And
exactly.
so he wanted me to, and I wasn't sure the name of it at the time, but he wanted me to look on my phone and find that out. And again, I said to him, both to the judge and to him, the defense attorney, me talking to the detective or the prosecutor, that's no different than
Than
what we
any
do
other, yeah,
all the time.
right,
We talk,
right.
if we're going to go in, we're going to talk to, if we're going to go in somewhere, I'm going to talk to county attorneys, talk to Commonwealth attorneys. What can we do to help? How much support can we give? There's nothing there. Really,
Uh-huh.
really just grasping at straws. But at that point, I sort of thought, okay, I'm not here to cause trouble. We're just going to hang outside and let this trial go on. Um,
Yeah,
and so then they gave some closing arguments, and we'll get into a lot of that. We've even got someone who was one of the first people in the house when it all happened, who said he would
yeah,
love to come on and talk a little bit about that. Here's what I think. Here's where I love to have Dee's input, and because Dee has been so instrumental in getting many bills passed in the state of Kentucky. But here's what people need to understand: this person was being charged under the old statute.
statute, correct.
And the reason it was so difficult for a conviction was because of the language in the old statute. This is the whole reason the new
Yeah,
statute, that statute need to be written into the new torture statute. Right, Dee?
mhm,
That's exactly correct. It was originally referred to, excuse me, as Romeo's Law, and it was
uh-huh,
passed in 2003.
mm,
And the torture of a cat or dog was initially considered a misdemeanor for the first offense, and then it would go on to a Class D felony for subsequent offenses, unless, of course, the animal suffered serious injury or death. But the language was so absurd, it didn't work. And most recently, when we were able to add the key words intentional gross
uh-huh,
neglect, that is what most of these cases that Jeff and you are following have been about: intentional gross neglect that leads to
correct.
serious injury or death. We didn't have that before, and that's what was put in. Now, this particular case, as I have been told, was occurred in 23. After
Yes,
the governor signed Ethan's law, it didn't actually go into law until July 24th, 25th or so, 2024. And
mhm,
as Jeff, as you explained it to me, and I have gone out of my way to make sure others who are just doing nothing but keyboard warriors complaining
Uh-huh.
that this, it's not the jury's fault, it's not the judge's fault, it's not anybody's fault other than maybe the fact it took 14 years to get the bill passed, but the
Yes.
jury was not allowed to even know what the current law is. They had to adjudicate under the previous law. Period. And stop. Case
Well,
closed. Get
here's
over
what's
it.
interesting, Dee,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you saw any of this in the closing arguments, Debbie, because we missed the first 3 days of the trial, but I think it came up even in the closing arguments. Here's what I found interesting was apparently, and again, take my what I said at the beginning about we're doing the best that we can. He put the new statute up
Yes.
on the screen
Oh
Yes.
boy.
and basically was
Yeah.
showing the jury here's the
Uh-huh.
statute you have to adjudicate by. It's not this new one. Don't don't
Uh-huh.
don't let this new one fool you. You have to go by this old one because which seemed really strange to me because I would not think you'd even be allowed to introduce it, but I don't know the rules.
Right. Yeah, we were
But during
surprised.
when they went to eventually start deliberating, and
Yes.
one of the questions the jury had was, can we look at this old statute that we're
Oh
going by
boy.
and look at the new one? And
Yes.
the
They
judge
wanted
said
to see
no.
both statutes. Yes. They wanted to compare the two
Well,
statutes.
hopefully they will, there's a lot of leeway even in the first statute. If they
Yeah.
would go out of their way to acknowledge that things are different now, but according to the
Mhm.
law, we have to adjudicate according to the old statute, they could possibly, hopefully, give her maximum under
Right.
the old statute. The big difference, many people do not know the difference between prison and jail.
Yes.
Jail, a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
Prison is for a felony. A felony
Yes.
sticks with you for a long, long time. Um, but they need to maybe, hopefully, give her the maximum that is allowed under the previous law. That's about the best we can hope for. And then possibly the one thing that is bugging me is stop complaining, stop bitching about it, get over it, get your panties out of a wad, move on, and be grateful that so
That
many
she's
people have worked so damn hard to get to get Ethan's law passed. It's on
yeah.
the books now. These people are not going to be able to get away with this anymore. Did it take
Right.
a long time? Yeah, 14 years.
Years.
Yep.
But
No, it's
we got
exactly
it now.
right.
And
This
people
is the
better just
perfect
open up their
example.
eyes, move on, say thank you, and
Uh-huh.
get over it and move on. And let's and I appreciate the fact that now that this laws like the crimes like this are a felony, that the courts are starting to pay attention. And thank you, Jeff, for bringing it to their attention, because it
Mhm.
wasn't like it came out in a headline in a paper that was circulated throughout.
No, it did not.
The animal control officers and many of the sheriffs, they don't even know that
Mhm.
Romeo's law is now Ethan's law. And from 2003 to 2024, things have changed, and people
Uh-huh.
are paying attention. Thank God. And we did it.
Yes.
We did it for the animals, not for anything or anybody else. We did it for the pets, who have no voice. Well, they've got a voice now, don't they, Jeff?
They do,
Very
yeah,
good.
and hopefully that voice continues to grow and grow and grow. The I am. It was going to be I think a difficult task with the old statute and the language to get the conviction, and the prosecution did an excellent job to
Work.
get to that point.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong;
Great.
Yeah.
those jurors, after hearing what they heard and seeing the pictures that they saw, they knew what happened there. Like there was no
Uh-huh.
mistake. Um, they knew what happened. They just had to follow the rules that they were given, and the oath that they took, and they had to make it fit inside that old statute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the and another. Let me
Oh, and
clarify
I
this.
have a question for you.
Yes,
The question is it overdone, signed, sealed, delivered, or does the judge have the
Good.
ability to come out and say, and furthermore, you're never going
Yes.
to have another pet as long as you live, and if you do, we're going to bring you up on new charges, and that's going to be the end of that. Is it, do they still have the option of
Mhm.
of laying something on her that maybe the old law didn't allow, but maybe the judge can? And I think
Yeah.
the idea of forbidding her to ever have a business that includes other people's pets, as well as not having any of her own, would be very
Mhm.
greatly appreciated.
Right.
yes.
Yes.
the judge to my knowledge, the judge
Uh-huh.
has the right to sentence her, I
To more
believe, to
time.
whatever he wants. But
Mm-hmm.
it's just very, very seldom never done because, the jury took their oath, they listened, they deliberated, they made a decision. The judge can increase that as far as I know.
Yeah.
And the formal sentencing, just for everyone's information,
Right.
doesn't happen until December 19th.
Oh,
Teeth.
So,
Yeah.
let me clarify for everyone. Sort of, there's been questions going back and forth. She was found guilty on all 31 counts,
Yes.
and Debbie, you were in there, and I believe it's what I read in the News Enterprise. It was 19 felony counts, and it
Yes.
was 12 misdemeanor counts. But didn't they find her guilty of 31 felonies?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes. Uh-huh. They certainly did. Yes.
okay. So she
And
was.
that was a lot of work for them to do that, like you were saying, Dee, under the old statute, for them to even get those felony
Amazing.
charges.
Amazing that they were able to do so
Yeah.
much.
Yes.
That's why I'm
Yeah.
so upset about people. I call them fondly keyboard warriors who just want to complain about, oh, well, Kentucky law let us down again. No, it didn't. The people worked very, very hard to get as far as they did.
They
And,
did.
and
Yeah.
I would appreciate it if more listeners and followers and people would do a little bit of homework before they complain about these things, or maybe just get up off their butts and try to help. Okay,
There,
you know.
there,
But if not, just be quiet. It's just concerning that anybody would find fault with any of this when you all worked so damn hard to bring it this far. Thank you very
Well,
much.
she was found guilty, 31 felonies.
yes.
They sentenced her to 2 years for each
On,
one.
2 years
Now,
in jail or prison, Jeff?
it,
Jail or
well,
prison?
here's the thing. It was 2 years for each one, but
mhm.
concurrently instead of consecutively. So that means for everyone out there, she's going to serve those 2 years at the same time for every count. And
Correct.
because as of right now, unless the prosecution is able to argue something different, or the judge maybe does something different,
Makes a
she will
change.
have to serve 15% of that
Mm,
2 years,
mm-hmm.
which comes to a little less than 4 months. So to answer your
Yeah.
question, D, if she's going to be in jail probably 4 months, it
For
will probably be
months. So,
jail and not.
yes. Right. And she is in custody for anybody that's wondering. They did take her out yesterday of the courtroom, and she
What
was in.
about what you and I discussed, Jeff? Versus violent crime. That
Yes.
she would have to serve 85%, and because I don't think it gets much
That was
more
one of the
violent than
things.
this.
That was one of the things that I mentioned to the
Mr.
detective
Carr.
and the prosecutor. Uh,
Uh-huh.
and I think that'll be something that if they feel like that's a valid argument that they can make when they go back to court, that I mentioned to them. So in
I,
Kentucky, for people that want to know, and they've heard me say this before, in Kentucky, if you are convicted of or plead guilty to a felony where the victim was either seriously injured or died,
Mhm.
you
Mm-hmm.
are put into a violent offender status and you're not eligible for diversion. And instead of that 15% of time, you have to serve
Well,
85% of the time,
I,
which would be
I
more about a year and 6 or 7
I,
months.
I am hopeful that maybe,
Yes.
the prosecution, if these people and the judge all realize because of this little nuance with 23, 24, that we were not able to go after her with full guns blasting under the current Ethan's law. Maybe they can impose a little bit more on the
Yes.
previous, adjudication. That
Right.
they can bring this up to just say and please make mention of the fact because this you did this in 23 and we didn't get the law that would have really nailed you until
Mm-hmm.
24. We can impose the following additional punishments, and I'm hoping this comes out and this is brought up to the judge and the prosecutor that please consider doing anything else you possibly can under the
Yeah.
law.
Well,
Yeah.
I do
I
know
think they will.
whether it gets brought up uh, by the prosecution, which I hope it does if he feels it's a good argument. There will be several folks that will be presenting a victim impact statement, and I
Good,
Yes.
believe there's a really good chance that several of those will mention that exact thing.
good,
Yes.
good.
So
Yeah.
But this
it'll
isn't
go
until
on the record
December.
in the court, and it'll be something for the judge to put his mind to. Um,
And that's a good way for those people to contribute. and do
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
you were saying, do something that's going to make a difference, make an impact statement, you
Yeah.
know?
There
Yeah.
are a couple things, and again, we're talking a lot of generalities here, and we're going to have some other folks on that know a little bit more details and get specific. There are a couple things disappointing to me, and they have their own reasons, but there were several folks that had dogs that were owned by her that were killed, or they were their dogs. She had them, possibly for training in her care, and they were killed, and they uh, decided or decided not to participate in
Yes.
the court hearing. They didn't want their dog's name brought up.
That was sad because that's why people were wondering why it was K9 number 2, K9 number 3,
Yeah.
K9 one. Yeah, and that's because a lot of them did not want to get involved, and so those poor babies are nameless in there.
Yeah, they might be nameless, but is she liable under civil law? Can these people bring charges against her for killing
Oh,
their dog under civil law?
I bet they can, because there were, and again, for
good
information that we
point.
got from some people that were part of the case, people were
Mm-hmm.
still paying her.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, their dog was dead and they didn't even know it.
Well, that just sounds to me like they could sue her. Let's get some money out of her too.
Yeah.
Well,
Um,
once this settles, they may start that right back up. Of course,
I
there's
hope I
another
hope somebody
case.
I hope somebody encourages them to do that and just say,
Yeah.
just because criminally we were not able to pursue this to the degree that we
Yes.
would have liked to, that doesn't mean that you can't take her to court yourself
Right.
under civil law. And I hope
Right.
somebody points this out to these people and
Yeah.
makes this a public statement that she is still liable for,
Uh-huh.
because if I put a dog into somebody else's care and somebody did something like this to them, I'd be all over them, court case or not. I'd be
Yeah.
suing them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good
And
idea.
I want to give everyone a chance for, and Peter's been commenting several different times, and he seems to know some things down in Hardin County. He says they simply were ashamed for giving their pets to someone unvetted. I get that. I understand that. And they probably didn't
Mm-hmm.
want their names out there. But the last thing, if you, and I'm not criticizing them, but the last thing, if it was my pet, the last thing that I would feel like I could do for my pet was
Yes.
stand up for them, even if it
Yes.
was a bad decision that I made.
Right.
Stand up for them and make sure the person that killed their dog was held accountable.
Accountable for
Yeah,
that.
yeah, put some
Yes.
eyeballs on them, stare them
Yeah.
right down, and say,
Now,
"You
the other
killed
thing
my
that is
dog."
a little, this is disappointing. And again, we weren't on the jury. We weren't in the jury room. But
No.
something that I found interesting was, I felt like they did a great job of saying, hey, we understand what she did. These misdemeanors are even going to be felonies. We know the
Yes.
horrendous things that happened. It just, to me, it seems like the 2 years seemed a little opposite of what coming
They
back with
said she had done.
the guilty
Right.
verdicts.
Right.
And again, I don't know. I wasn't in the jury room. Were they are the when you go into deliberations like that, are you aware that if you sentence someone to 2 years, that they only have to serve this small percentage and
Yeah.
can be out in 4
They
years?
went through that, Jeff. The prosecution explained that all to the jury in their directions
Okay.
before they went in to deliberate. He had a parole person take the stand who explained the options of how many years and how many months they would serve if whatever year. I mean, he went through that.
Mm.
Yeah. Carefully, even going through the consecutive and the concurrent, saying that she would walk away with only this or this many months if she, got parole. So yeah.
Yeah.
Debbie,
Those.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm
Yep.
going to have
No.
to get going here.
Okay.
Debbie,
Uh,
what a pleasure it was to finally
Thank you,
hook up.
Dee.
yeah, thanks, Dee.
And
You're gonna Dee. You're gonna come back on, because Dee, if no one knows, Dee has one of the most fascinating stories, not just in animal welfare and helping animals out in Kentucky, which she has done a tremendous job of doing, but she has an
Yes.
amazing story that we got to get into sometime, Dee.
it's always my pleasure, and I'm
Did
so
you hear that
grateful.
hesitation
But
right
I
there?
realize
I know, and I've heard
and
little bits and pieces. You need to
we
share.
we made a good pair.
Yeah.
It took years and years, over a decade, to get the bill. Now it's in your lap to make sure everybody knows about the bill and gets it, and takes care of it. I don't know that either one of us signed up for a lifetime
No,
commitment,
no,
but
no.
it is what it is. And
That's what it
we're on it.
is for sure.
And I appreciate all that you do. And until the next case, let's see how it goes. Okay.
Let's
You
see.
take
Thank you,
care.
Bye,
Dee. Thank you. I
Dee.
appreciate it.
Have a
Thanks,
blessed weekend.
Dee.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
So again, not being in that jury room, to me, just from the outside, whether I'm on one side or the other, those two things seem kind of polar opposite of one another.
Yes.
Like
Yeah,
we're
they
going to,
did.
not only are we going to convict her of these felonies, we feel like we need to raise these misdemeanors to felonies, but then we're only going to give her this small amount of time. I'd be very interested to talk with someone that went through that process. I don't know if they're allowed to talk or not.
Yes, we did ask that. And
Uh-huh.
it's like, because we were told, just for example, like in the O.J. Simpson, a lot of them wrote books. So they said once they are finished with jury duty, then they can talk freely.
Are they done now? Do they have to? Is that
Well, it was kind of funny yesterday. I was going to tell you, and I didn't think to. The judge at the end of the case asked, I guess these same people are still in the pool until sometime later into December,
okay?
because the judge said to them that he really would like this same jury to stay on with him, that he had another trial the 1st of December, and he would have really appreciated if they each would continue their service and stay together as a jury.
Well, that's very kind of. Deb Rogers says it's not over. Community is coming together to sign a petition to ask Judge Simcoe to override the jury
Yeah, I
recommendation.
think that,
If Deb, if that's really a thing, and you were able to get me a link to that, I'd be happy to put it out there.
yeah, it was
And
nice meeting
again,
Deb yesterday.
I don't mean to even disparage the jury for that. I find those kind of things fascinating. That it seemed like on this one hand it was this harsh penalty of we're going to convict you of all these things, but on this other hand, um, it's
You're
just a
just gonna
light
get,
it's a light
yeah,
sentence. I mean, you didn't even go to it. A felony, Class D felony, is 1 to 5 years. You didn't even get to the halfway point. um,
right,
I think it would
right.
be interesting to know the dichotomy and the discussions they have, and
Yeah,
maybe I mean, again, that's why I'm not criticizing. They could have gotten in the jury room and maybe they were trying to decide between 1 and 2 years,
yeah,
and they went
exactly.
with the maximum that they thought that they wanted to do, and
Yeah,
it was
that they
two
could
years.
arrive at, yes, that they could get a consensus on. Maybe that's the
Yeah,
most that they could get as a group. So, yeah.
yeah. I mean, there's just so much that goes into it,
Yeah, the
that's why.
dynamics back there, yeah,
Yeah, that's
that's
why you never judge, in someone else's shoes if you haven't sat through that. Uh,
right.
because it's interesting. We were talking with uh, someone there in the courtroom, who is a prominent position there in Hardin County, who said he was on a jury,
Uh-huh.
and he listened to the testimony, and then they
Right.
went back into the
Yeah.
deliberation room. He thought, were some of these people listening to the same thing I listened
Same
to,
story.
because they're saying
Yeah.
the exact opposite of what I heard.
That's what we said. Each perception of what you're hearing is so different. So you put 12 people together, and yes, they were all listening to the same thing, but what they heard is very different,
It's
you know?
very
Yeah.
different. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was, that
Yeah.
was an interesting case. And then we went back to, well, we haven't even gone through the whole thing. So then we go, so
Yeah.
Monday, they are out deliberating.
Yes.
Ethan's been there all day. He's been fabulous. I've been walking him around inside, outside, getting him some water, getting him some snacks. Um, and then they were still deliberating, and it got to after 7 o'clock that night. And
Yeah.
we were just like, okay, we need to go. Like,
Yeah.
I need to get him home, get him some food, get him uh, get him to some more rest. And then somewhere around 9:30, 9:45, something like that, I think the jury came back.
Yeah.
That's when
With
we got
the,
the verdict of 31 counts, guilty. And then
mhm.
sentencing was going to be Wednesday, because
Uh-huh.
they had other things to do in court on Tuesday.
Correct.
So,
Oh, I know one other thing I was going to mention. The prosecution was very concerned that they were going to charge differently with the dogs that died than the dogs that lived,
mhm.
and that the jury did not. that was a thing too, when they started reading every single charge, we thought there might be a difference, but they didn't. They charged them all the very same. So
Yeah, and again, that's another
very, uh-huh.
silver lining. Good. That is a good
Yes.
outcome. And so that's also another good thing. So we come back Wednesday morning for sentencing or deliberation for the sentencing. And again,
Sentencing.
the we come inside and you go up to the second floor, and that whole airport type area was packed with people. I mean,
Yeah.
200 people at least.
Busy airport.
And so I'm standing, like me, you were standing, and Peggy, one of Ethan's extended family, a wonderful person there in Hardin County, came. So we're all standing there talking with a couple other people, and out of the way. I'm like, I've got him. I'm
Oh
not.
yeah.
I don't go find the biggest crowd and just go right in the middle of it. I'm trying to stand out of the way.
Yes. So people
And then,
don't step on Ethan.
yeah,
I mean, you tend to
yeah.
get over out of the immediate walking area.
And so then the bailiff comes over again and says, "I told
Uh-huh.
you not to talk to these people." And I was like, what people are you talking about? And she said, the jurors right over here. And I looked over there and I said, what jurors are you talking about? None of the people right there have any jury button on, although it looked like some of them were the jurors, but they didn't have the jury button on.
No.
And she said, we don't want a mistrial. And I said, you know what, I'm just moving right over here. So
Jeff just kept moving
we
farther
moved
down the
even
hall.
further away. Because the last
Oh
thing we ever wanted was what happened Monday. Number
oh
one.
my gosh.
Uh,
Yeah, that'll be one whole episode of just what went on that day. So
so they go in, they start court again, and immediately
yes,
the defensive
Mr.
team is asking for another mistrial
Correct.
because they say they have a picture of
Yes.
Toshi, and we've talked about Toshi earlier, animal advocate there in Hardin County, a picture of her talking with someone, or maybe even just standing somewhere, and they claim there's a juror in the picture. Like she's
Yes.
talking to a juror, I guess was the implication.
Right. And
And
it's the back of Toshi. It's not even the front of Toshi. It's the back of Toshi. So yeah.
did they show the picture in court? Could you even tell who she was talking to?
No, we didn't get to see it. Of course, they had to show it to Toshi and they entered it into evidence. But I mean, from what, even when Toshi was trying to look at it, she said, well, you're seeing my backside. And the people, I mean, they had to blow it up it was from a telephone, of course. So it was losing, it was getting harder and harder to see. Well, she didn't recognize any of the people. I don't think they were not clear, is what I'm trying to say, in the picture at all. And it was the back of some of the people anyway. So, but it was just a group of people. It didn't even really show who she was speaking with. It's just a group standing, ready to go, waiting to go into court. But this
Seemed
was on
like
Friday.
enough. Yeah. So the picture was taken on Friday. They brought it
Correct.
up on Wednesday, and
Yes.
again, it seemed like a lot of grasping at straws to me. But
Yes.
so anyway, the judge says, "I'll deal with that in a little bit.
Mm.
Continue your statements about sentencing." So they did that. The jury goes back for sentencing, and then at that point, he decides he's going to. Was it after they gave the sentence when he decided he was going to talk to all the jurors independently?
He wanted the sentence. He wanted everything finished with the jury so they weren't influenced by being angry, he said, with the defense or the prosecution for bringing all this back up again.
Right.
So he wanted the sentence, he wanted their deliberations finished in his hand before he started putting or interrogating Toshi on the stand.
So
So
then he gets the verdict in his hand, or the sentencing
yes,
in his hand, and then
sentencing. Yes,
interviews every single one of the jurors again.
yes. Mhm.
And then the defense, and then they put Toshi up and asked her some questions, and the defense asked her apparently a bunch of questions.
Oh yes,
Some of
very
which
very long.
I heard. I wasn't there, but I heard, and when I heard them, almost to every one of them, I thought to myself, "What does that have to do with this case? What does that have to do
Nothing,
with anything?" Like, I mean,
nothing.
I mean, who? So they asked. I mean, one of the things they asked her, from what I heard, was, did she ask? And maybe they asked her about other things. Did she ask me to come to court?
Yes.
Well, I mean, can't you, as just a person, a community member that goes to court to watch this trial, don't I have the right to ask anyone that I want to come to court?
Well,
I mean,
she even
what?
mentioned, yes, and at one point she mentioned freedom of speech. So, yeah. But there was one point where she was trying to get him to clarify questions because he was just going in circles asking, trying to rephrase the same thing, but you were losing what he was trying to say. And he looked at her and asked her what her level of education was. And it was like, how is that pertinent at all?
I mean, at that
And
point, I think I would. I mean,
yeah, it
Judge
should have
Central,
been stopped.
someone
Yeah.
should have stopped that. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was, yes, it was very uncalled for. He tried to say that the point was that since she didn't understand the questions, a level of intelligence or how far you went into school would give him an idea of her level of intelligence, which it does not.
No, absolutely not.
That is very offensive to, anyone and everyone, that
Your
how far
level,
you went
your
into
level,
school.
level of schooling or education has zero to do with the.
No, exactly. So that part was
They
just
should
very,
have. You just should have put a stop to that. I mean,
yeah.
that's just
Yeah,
too much.
yeah. But I would say Toshi stayed calm. She answered very carefully and answered, honestly, but it was a long time for her on the stand. We were like, it's like when you and Toshi both had to take the stand, it was like, usually witnesses get to, know kind of they're prepared before they take a stand. Y'all got no
Well,
preparation. Y'all
well,
were just
but
thrown up there.
here's the thing: when they're asking you questions about something that didn't
You're
even
being
happen,
truthful.
like, it's
Yeah.
very easy to just say, like, what are you talking about?
Uh-huh.
Like,
Exactly.
like you're trying to. He was trying to. He had obviously gotten nothing from in regards to me and Ethan. He had obviously
Right.
got nothing from the jury other than, hey, there's a movie.
Exactly.
And so,
Exactly.
when he wants to question me, it's okay. The only thing I can get on you is you saw that there were a couple of them had juror buttons on. Yeah, you're right. I did. And I also wondered, in my mind, they're obviously not part of this case. I'm sure this jury is somewhere in the back somewhere.
Back.
I mean,
Yeah. Waiting
wouldn't
to
that
come
make
into the
sense?
courtroom.
I mean,
It
why would they be,
certainly
forget
would.
me and Ethan, why would they be sitting out there amongst anyone that they could talk to? Anyway,
Uh,
and then, so when there was nothing there, then he thought, okay, I'm going to find something nefarious with you talking to these people here. Well, as a detective or a assistant prosecutor, or even as just a common citizen, I got a right to call anyone.
uh-huh.
I mean,
Right.
they don't have to talk to me. They could say, hey, I don't
Right.
want to talk to you. And when I talked to them, basically the information I got was, hey, this case is, it's
Right.
already over. The trial's
Yeah,
over.
it was wrapped up. Right.
Closing arguments
Exactly.
are Monday. Uh,
Uh-huh.
and I mean that, and then you try to make something out of that, and there's just nothing
No.
there. I mean, there's just
No, no. And then they, like we said, then they tried with Toshi. And then when they could go nowhere with that and found nothing, he tried to go back to you one more time and tried to bring that up again to get a mistrial.
the
So
man with the dog.
he wanted, yes, the man with the dog, and we needed transparency. We got to get that word out there. Jeff didn't get to hear it as many times, but that
No,
was
apparently, yeah, apparently you got, and you were telling me that in his closing and his sentencing arguments, he kept mentioning transparency and there being
yes.
transparent, and I, I'm
But
so confused about how that applies to this case in any way.
it didn't. That, or in my opinion, it did not make any sense in either one of the. I mean, he didn't tie it into the case at all. He would just stand there and say, "Transparency. That's what you get from us. Transparency." And we'd all like, okay, that's number. I think the one time the reporter in the courtroom, I don't remember now if it was 14 times or 17 times,
Right.
something like that he threw the word transparency out there.
Well,
But I think we're good.
I'll
We
even
got
put on
it.
because I said this to you, Debbie. Um, this whole sort of thing fascinates me about it. It's an awful tragedy that these dogs
Oh,
were killed.
oh,
But all of this,
horrific.
there's so much of this stuff that sort of fascinates me. And you know me, I would. I like all the information. I'll talk to anyone. I would talk to Mr.
Yeah,
Wimberly if he wanted to have a conversation or come on here. I
sure.
find the whole thing just really interesting about the dynamic of the old statute and new statute.
Yeah.
You know, the punishment, the strategy of the way the kind of boisterous and loud closing
Yes, as
arguments. Is that
right.
something that uh, is that something that as the defense attorney, is he always sort of like that, or he felt like this case was that? Is
Yes,
it
it's very
like
interesting.
what motivates? I mean, what motivates you as a defense attorney to take this case? It's not
Take
luck,
that type
right?
of a case. Yeah, we
You just
talked
got
about that.
plenty of
Would
money.
love to know.
Like,
Yeah.
is it because it's an underdog story and you think you can win this? Is it you really think she's being, uh, you know, mischarged and shouldn't be? I find all that stuff very interesting.
Yeah, it is. And as you know, I've been saying for a while, I wanted to go to trial, wanted to be in a courtroom with a trial, but I wanted them to be able to adjudicate with Ethan's law. But this one came up after being in court and watching a trial. Oh my.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
goodness.
as we have gone around in different counties, you learn so much from the cases, and maybe
Yeah.
even more so. I don't know what you think. You learn so much from the cases that don't go the way you want them to go.
Oh yeah, there's a learn definitely because then you're trying to figure out what do we need to change the next time or what do we need to use as the recommendation. Yeah, I mean it's all a learning curve as we go along for
Yeah.
sure. So that
So as we move forward, we'll have some other podcasts. We'll probably come back to this a couple different times because I know of at least a couple people that I've already talked to that said they would love to come on. Uh, I, I I just want to get information out there because um, from a gentleman we talked to the other day that was one of the first people on the scene.
right.
If you weren't in the courtroom
Mm-hmm.
to see the pictures and to hear the story,
Mm-hmm.
you have no idea what was in that house. And to hear
Correct.
him talk about it
Yeah,
is unbelievably tragic.
right. It is. And how I mean he is affected with what he saw for the rest of his life.
Yeah. He's affected by talking with him.
Mhm.
He's affected by the smell
Mel,
he got
yes.
when he parked in the driveway and got out of the car.
Yeah,
And then when he went in and saw the images that he saw, uh,
right.
he'll live with that forever.
Forever. Yeah. Hmm.
And to think that the person in this, this is him telling me this, and I'm sure when he comes on, he's going to pass it. And to think
Yeah.
that when he goes into the house, what is in that house, and to think that person there is just casually watching television in the living room like nothing else is going on
Hmm.
is beyond.
Yeah.
I,
Right. And
you just can't.
that's what we kept wanting from the defense, to tell give us the reason. He kept saying why and transparency and but you know what? We wanted the answer maybe to why. Why did this happen? Why? And all we got really were, cyberbullying. She was cyberbullied, she was depressed. But he did not address it very much because I think he didn't have anything much to present, so it just kept getting kind of skimmed over, so there is no explanation obviously for why, but he didn't even attempt to give much of a reason why. So
Well, and maybe we'll end today with a couple things. First, before I get into that, first I want to say this is for everyone that's watching, for everyone that has supported and followed Dee through the years, for everyone that has supported and followed Ethan through the years, for everyone that's supported and followed trying to get these laws passed, made a phone call,
right.
sent an email, put a
Mm-hmm.
post up on social media. Like, you all are to be commended today because this is a perfect example of why that law had to be changed.
Yes.
That old
Yeah.
statute did not work anymore. That language was not going to help the cats and dogs in Kentucky anymore. And
Uh-huh.
so that was why getting that revised 525135 Ethan's Law passed was so important.
Yeah.
So hopefully, um, you know, everyone that was part of that, pat yourself on the back, and but don't stop there. Don't give up, because we
No,
need to keep
no,
moving forward. Uh,
exactly.
that's why these things have to happen. And Ethan's Law is a small step. Romeo's Law was a small step. Ethan's Law, another small step. There are many more things that we can do that will continue to increase, looking
Yeah.
after the safety and of cats and dogs around. And so we'll kind of end with this. We'll get on some other things later and come back to this a couple different times. But one of the things I found was one of the more powerful things, and you can correct this, the tweaking of this uh, quote,
Oh,
whatever I get wrong. But the prosecutor, who had a wonderful, wonderful line of, and I'm paraphrasing, and maybe you can say it better, is
no, you go ahead.
forgetting to feed your dog is
Neglect is forgetting.
neglect is forgetting to feed your dog. Remembering
Torture.
to not feed your dog is torture.
Right. It was very powerful. Yeah.
There was, and let's jump into this very quickly. There were a couple dogs there that were perfectly healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she knew
Hurts,
how to
yes.
take care of dogs, and there was plenty of food around.
Bags of
Plenty
food.
of food around.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yes.
choice, it was the intent, which is back to this new statute. The intent.
Uh-huh.
You know how to take care of animals. You chose to take care of these animals. You chose not to take care of these animals to the
Exactly.
point that they were killed.
Yes. Yeah. And Mr. Carr opened his final statements with, "What is a dog's life worth?"
Yeah.
Which was very powerful too, because he was addressing the jury directly when he was asking for the strongest sentence they felt they could give. So,
Well, we'll stay on this one, and formal sentencing is December 19th. We'll be back in court then. Um, I know there's going to be some very powerful impact statements, victim impact statements there
yes.
that day. Um,
And
and
hopefully you and Ethan can stay in the courtroom this time.
hopefully we'll be able to sit in the courtroom. That would be nice.
Yeah, that would be good. So,
But yeah, it takes, it sounds cliche, but it takes a village. It takes a
it
bunch of
does.
folks. So if you are able, and you're in the Hardin County area,
Mm-hmm.
and this case has affected you in some way, show up to court on December 19th.
Mm-hmm.
You got plenty of time. Take off work, come to court on December 19th, and show some support for the animals that were killed in this case.
Yes.
And part of it, um, let's rally around that, and
Yeah.
make a presence known that uh, this isn't acceptable in Hardin County, and we're going to make sure that those people spend some time in jail. And I'm
Mhm.
hoping that from the prosecution side, they're able to argue a
Yeah.
violent offender, and she can stay in jail longer. We definitely need to make sure that
There's no
there's something in
animals.
there. Yeah, and I would, if it's me, I'm starting off with, you can't be around another animal the rest of your life.
Uh-huh. Exactly.
Uh,
And if you're in Hardin, pay attention to, if there's some of them in the community that are trying to rally up, support, pay attention to what's being, done in the county too, because it sounds like, from even what Deb said, and probably Toshi too, that they will be trying to organize some, people writing impact statements and whatever else they can do. So,
yeah. So stay connected. People ask, what can I do?
yes,
Stay connected. When asked, sign something if it's something that you believe in. When
right.
when asked, share something if it's something you can share. And you got a month. Come to court on
Hmm.
December 19th. Um, I don't know whether there was anything specific for each of those dogs, but I can tell you this: purple is Animal Abuse Awareness color. Show up on December 19th and wear purple,
Yeah.
and make your presence known. So,
Sounds like
let's
a
work
great
on.
way to.
We'll keep working. We've got, today is Thursday. I think we've got a few cases next week to go to.
Not
Well,
too
no,
much next week.
next week is
Yeah,
Thanksgiving. That's right. Yeah, sorry.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. There's not. I think there's one next week,
Court is
but there.
so Sharon asked a good question. Where's Court? Court is
Oh,
in basically downtown E-Town, right around the square.
120 East Dixie Avenue.
There you go. You ask Sharon, and Debbie will deliver.
There you go. It's very easy to find. It's not far from the center. Oh, I'm sure the old courthouse in the center of town. So
Yep.
it's very easy to find.
Hardin County Judicial Center. Yep.
Yep.
Very easy to find. Show up. Let's get there. I'm assuming, do we know the time on formal sentencing?
1:15, I think.
All right. So we're looking at.
But we'll have to double check and keep an eye on it because you know how
Okay.
those things sometimes change. The
So
time might change.
right now we're looking at December 19th at 1:15. If that
Mhm.
changes, I'll definitely put it up on Ethan's page. We'll put it up on here. But I'm asking folks to show up on December 19th. That might get me called up to the witness stand, but we're going to ask people to show up anyway. I mean,
Well, maybe Ethan went up to testify too.
I'm
So
just going to say he doesn't. I was being very non-adversarial. I was being very respectful when I was up on the witness stand. He don't want to call me on the witness stand on December 19th.
Yeah, might not go as well, huh?
Don't do it.
Do I have to take bail money? Do I need to take bail?
Don't do it. Anyway,
Okay.
So thank you for everybody for watching, listening. Thank you for Dee for jumping on here.
Oh yeah, thanks, Dee.
This is very important. It wasn't even Ethan's Law, but this just shows you how important these things are. So
Right.
pay attention, sign something if you feel like that's what you need to do. Show up, please. Wear purple animal abuse awareness colors, and we'll kind of show out December 19th. But we'll be on here talking about that before then. We've got a couple of folks to come on.
Yeah, we've got some people that are going to want to come on and give some more insight. So that'll be good.
I've got a really cool, off of that subject, I've got a really cool opportunity for a new home for an Ethan thing that will probably go up this evening if I can get Walgreens to get off their butt and get something done for me.
Oh, okay.
But
come on, Walgreens.
Oh, wait a minute. So, and go to the new merch shop. Got a new jacket that came from the new merch shop.
And you got baseball caps. They're baseball caps.
And I'm just going to tell you, I haven't even said this to you, Debbie. I got something in the mail yesterday. That is so cool.
Oh,
I think everyone is really going to love it. And it was really cool. I haven't said anything to anyone because I was waiting for it to show up to make sure that everything looked right and it looked good and it was ready to go. Do we have purple shirts to buy? Yes. I'll put a link up where you can buy purple shirts. They're going to be Ethan shirts.
That's good. That's okay.
Sharon. But yes. Do we still have mugs? So Kim asked, do we still have mugs? I am working on that.
I know. We like our mugs.
The last several weeks I've been working on that. What I'm probably going to have to do, and because I believe in transparency.
Well, thank you. I'm so glad.
So right now it's hard to get. They're having a difficult time finding an option that is just a one-off mug. In other words, for you to call to get on a link and just order one mug and they send it to you. So what I'm probably going to do is pick some mugs, some ceramic mugs, and buy probably kind of an abundance myself, and then try to sell them as we go along, because that's probably going to be the easiest thing to do. Because these mugs, we don't have a way to buy those anymore. But I'm working on it. We're working on mugs.
Yeah, he knows we've been asking, so I know he's working on it. And again, but you got something else new to share.
I got something really cool.
Okay.
Coming down the pike. We also have something coming up on December 14th that you don't want to miss. It's going to be over. Again, I'm throwing this out there. You get me on these podcasts, and I'll say anything. December 14th over in Southern Indiana, we are going to do a a paw print ornament decoration, a canvas with Ethan's paw print decoration, and this cool thing I got yesterday will be available on December 14th at this particular thing. So it's going to be really cool.
Okay.
I'll show you guys pretty soon.
Okay.
What
December
that
the 14th. Do you have a time just to throw out there?
I'm probably going to say it's probably going to be 1 to 3,
Okay.
something like that, a couple hours.
Okay.
And it's going to be decorating a paw print ornament for Christmas. And I've got the little 5x7 canvases that that folks can come and pick their own colors and I'll put Ethan's paw print in on whatever color they want, and then they
Oh
can
my
design
goodness.
the canvas
How
how they want.
fun.
There'll be some hot chocolate there. There'll be lunch there. It's going to be a good time on December 14th. So
Love
you
it.
guys look for that on Ethan's page. There'll be some signups to get out there.
Kendra Scott.
Kendra Scott on November 30th.
Right.
Sunday,
Right.
November 30th. We got several things going on. So it is the day we're doing our spay neuter at Louisville Metro Animal.
Yes.
Signups are already, well, some people have backed out. I may put it back. I'll have to put it on Ethan's page. I may put it back out there because I may need 5 or 6 more folks.
Okay.
But look on Ethan's page. But also November 30th at Oxmoor Mall, Kendra Scott. Anything you buy at Kendra Scott all day at the
online mall, too. You do not have to live in Kentucky for this one. And Kendra Scott is wonderful about giving, a percentage. And they do it for so many organizations. So great time to buy a Christmas gift for someone.
And November 30th, you need to buy any kind of jewelry for yourself, for somebody else. Go to Kendra Scott in Oxmoor or online, and they donate a percentage of what they sell to Ethan Almighty's Blessings. So
yes, they do.
Yeah. So hopefully, thank you, Connie, for being at the courthouse and coming back on December 19th.
Good, Connie. I'm glad. It was nice meeting Connie.
Let's keep putting it out there. Let's get a bunch of folks there on December 19th, and look forward to some announcements about December 14th. Go to the new merch shop, get you a hat, get you a women's cut shirt, get you a sweatshirt. It's starting to get cold outside. All those proceeds, all those profits go to Ethan Almighty's Blessing. So
great. Lots going on. Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much for everybody for tuning in. If you have more questions about this particular case, and I'm sure as you hear from some other folks, you'll have some questions.
Yeah, right. As we get the other people on.
Yeah, send them in, and we'll be happy to do our best to answer them. And if you were part of this case, and you want to provide some input, we'd love to have you on also. So, thank you very much. We'll talk soon.
Okay. All right.
Wonderful day.
Bye-bye.